Thanks, Hannah. Thank you. Okay, I will now call the hearing to order. I would like to begin by acknowledging that we are in Treaty 1 territory and the traditional homeland of the Métis Nation. This morning, on my far left, I have Mr. Richard Whitbread. On my direct left, Ms. Linda McFadden, and I'll be chairing the hearing, Robert Hutchings. Representing the Assessment and Taxation Department, we've got Jennifer Martins, Brittany Santucci, and Doug Stratton, and our secretary today is Ms. Aziz, and we will be hearing applications for revision of the assessment roll in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act. The matters for which revision is requested have been described in each application, and we will limit discussion to those matters. The statements that applicants or the assessor make at this hearing are sworn testimony, and anyone speaking of the matters must be sworn in. Be advised that comparisons of assessments of properties are not considered evidence of market value by this Board of Revision. The Board of Revision is appointed annually by Council and is independent of it and the City Administration. It makes its decisions on the basis of the evidence provided at this hearing and issues a written order that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the Board's decisions with respect to an application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or to the Court of Queen's Bench if the matter pertains to the application of exemption from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, on information on how to do so will be included with this Board's order. With respect to the hearing process, I will confirm the matters to be addressed with each applicant following their swearing in. We will then have the assessor's testimony, followed by cross-examination by the appellant, and then the panel members, and then the appellant's testimony, followed by cross-examination by the assessor first, and then the panel members. Each side will have an opportunity to summarize if they wish. Once all the evidence about an application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket today. The session will close after all the applications have been heard, and the Board will deliberate in private and make its decisions based on evidence presented here today. You will receive the order by registered mail as soon as possible. As information, all public hearings are live streamed, recorded, and will be part of the public record. And please can everybody make sure their cell phones are on complete silence before we begin. Put it, please.
Please state your full name. Jennifer Martins. And you swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Thank you. Please state your full name.
Marcel Navarro.
And you swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you.
Thanks for that. Okay, first property on the docket we're going to deal with today is 5419 Roblin Boulevard. And, oh, I'm sorry. Thanks for the loan. Okay, where are we? Way down at the bottom, right? There we go. Okay, so we are dealing with a 2020 Realty Appeal, I believe, yes. No other issues that I'm aware of? Okay, good, okay. Jennifer, when you are ready, please.
This is file number 19-2453, roll number 01003496 000, 5419 Roblin Boulevard. There was a supplemental on July 24th of 2019, and this roll number no longer exists. So I'd like to request that either the property is withdrawn or that the value is confirmed.
Oh, okay,
We'd ask to confirm the value.
okay. So just to confirm, would you mind reading the classification and the
Okay.
status, please?
The total assessed value is $3,075,000. For the first portion of $1,837,000. Yes, sorry, $837,000. Class code 40, institutional. Liability status is X, taxable, no school. And for the portion that is 1,238,000, classification 40 institutional, liability is T for taxable.
Okay, 40 and then T, right?
Yes.
Okay, and Mr. Marcello requests the confirmation. All right. Okay, any questions of the panel?
No.
Okay, thank you. So that concludes 5419 Robin Boulevard. Thank you, Ms. Martins.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jennifer. Okay, now what are we gonna do?
I asked maybe Mr.
Smith?
Smith if, have they come to an arrangement?
Not really, no.
Okay, then actually these should go by quickly.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So, Mr. Strachan, all right. Famous last words, but anyway. Okay, so, which properties are they gonna be, Marcelo? On the docket items?
Okay. We can do 3281 Pembina Highway first,
Okay.
and that is actually going to be a withdrawal.
Okay, I'll bring up one.
Okay. And then the next one would be 160 Tuxedo, would that?
Yeah.
Okay, and then the two, or the three vacant agricultural?
Yeah, and those should go by quickly.
Okay, that's okay.
Yeah, just swear and affirm. Please state your full name.
Okay.
And you swear the evidence you're about to present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Thanks, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so first we'll deal with 3281 Pembina Highway, Mr. Strachan. The appellant has withdrawn that one. For the record, okay. Okay, so the next one on the docket is Unit 1004-160 Tuxedo Avenue, and we're dealing with a 2020 Realty appeal. Mr. Strachan, when you're ready, please.
Roll number 10003338800, 1004-160 Tuxedo. We're in Coachland neighborhood. Despite an aerial photo, there's Tuxedo area not too far off of Keniston. It's a condo, I believe it's a 14-story condo. Built in 1984. The suite under question is 1,500. One washroom. All the properties, balconies, central air, etc. 2020 assessment, 260,000. All the comparables supplied are in the same complex. Third floor up to the 12th floor. Pretty much the same features, except you'll see all the comparables are 1,600 square feet and they have 2 washrooms. Being the extra 100 square feet, they're able to stick an additional washroom in there. Sales comparisons, January 2016 to July 2017 sale prices. I'm just going to supply the actual sale price, $279,900 up to $300,000. The subject property, 260,000, 173 square foot. You'll see the comparables, very much the same range. 176 up to 189 a square foot. Bit of history, many years ago, property sold for approximately 255,000, 2004. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stark. And Marcelo, any questions of the assessor?
Yes. We both walked through this unit, correct?
Approximately 2 years ago.
Is it 2
4?
years? A year? A year and a half? I don't know.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. What was the condition of the unit at that time?
The unit is a rental, if I remember correctly. It hadn't been maintained, or it was habitable.
Had it had major updates?
No, it hadn't.
And as I remember, it was actually empty at the time, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, it was vacant. You could tell it was original. We call those, it's a character unit, so a lot of people go after those character properties.
And have prices in this building increased significantly?
For the past year, 2 years, the condo market is going down somewhat. It's a buyer's market right now, so the values have been going down somewhat. Can't say it's for all the condos in the city, but it does happen.
And did you look at the condo fees in this building?
I did not.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Linda, any questions of the assessor?
Just to confirm with the assessor, it's a 1-bedroom and 1 bathroom, and where the other, all the comparables are 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
This was a unique unit. Not as many options, 100 square feet less, so it was the master, or, well, the only bedroom in that suite. This is sizable, so that's the difference.
Okay.
Anything else, Linda?
No.
Okay, Richard?
Nothing.
Okay. And I think I'm good. Marcelo, when you're ready, please.
Okay, this is unit 1004, 160 Tuxedo Avenue. And we are requesting a revision to $250,000 from $260,000. Again, this is 1,500 square feet, 1 level. You can see a picture of it on page 2. That is the building, an overhead shot on page 3. Built in 1984. And if you can refer to the summary on, after page 7, those are where our comparables are. So we have a price range between 153 and 165 for 4 units that we've looked at. The average sale price is 161.18. The subject was assessed at 173.33, 175. I believe there's some rounding involved there. We applied a rate of 166.67 per square foot for a value of $250,000. We can look at the comparables here. Comparable 1, 84, built in 1984, 1 level, 1,600 square feet, 5 rooms, central air conditioning, 2 parking stalls, balcony, 1 bedroom and den, sold for $255,000 in August 2017. Comp 2, which is 703, 160 Tuxedo, built in 1984, 1 level, 1,600 square feet, 5 rooms, 2 underground parking stalls, 2 washrooms, balcony, 2 bedrooms, but also what I read in the highlights of this property is that there could be 1 bedroom plus den, so I'm not sure if it's actually 2 bedroom or a bedroom and a den that was converted into a bedroom. That one sold for $245,000 in December 16 for $153.13 per square foot, and that is assessed at $229. Comp number 3, 401, 160 Tuxedo, 1984, slightly smaller, it's one bedroom, 4 rooms, central air conditioning, 2 parking stalls underground, 1 washroom, balcony. That one sold for $199,931. It sold in January 18 for $166.58 per square foot. And comp number 4 is unit 304, 160, 1,600 square feet, 5 rooms, central, 2 underground spots, 2 washrooms, balcony. That one sold for $274,900. Sorry, that was listed for $274,900. It sold for $265 in July 16 for $165.63 per square foot. $271. And it's assessed at $271,000. So, I guess what we're trying to say here is that the trend is actually going down in terms of the sale prices. Even from a few years ago, even from the last cycle, we noticed this, that the prices were starting to go down. This building has had some issues in terms of its reserve and a lot of capital work that they've had to do on this property. And in particular, another issue is here the size of the unit. You'll notice that it's 1,500 square feet, but it matches the parameters of some of the other properties. So the unit beside this one is owned by the same people, the owners. What they did was they took a chunk of 100 square feet out of this one and put it into their own unit. So adding more size to their own unit. So this unit actually should have 1,600 square feet. So we are asking for, again, a revision to $250,000.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Strachan, any questions?
The subject property, is it still vacant?
I believe so. Yeah.
Any upgrades and the
I think they're trying to sell it. So,
Okay. I have no other questions, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Richard, any questions of the appellant?
Nothing, thanks.
Thank you. Linda?
I have nothing.
Okay. Marcelo, I'm just looking at your page, your last page. So you're stating it's got 1 bedroom plus a den. Is that accurate?
I believe the den may have been incorporated in that 100 square feet.
Yeah, that's what I remember the property, they cut out that part of the wall. It's kind of I think it was an entertainment unit. They took over 100 square feet of this subject. I didn't search the title to see if there was a sale between the two. I'm not aware of that, but
Okay.
hopefully we've assessed the other property for 1,600 or 1,700 square feet, so check that.
That,
The other properties I think larger than that. I think it's like a 2 or 3 bedroom.
oh, okay. So would it be accurate to take out the and den in the description?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
That was actually taken out of MLS, so.
Yeah, when they took over that additional space for the other suite, it cut down the size of the second bedroom, so that's what it'd be very tight for a bedroom now, so.
It could be a den, like a.
Yeah,
a
little
little
office space or.
Yeah. Okay.
Whereas
Okay.
the other ones, actually, the bins can be converted
Yeah.
into a bedroom.
Okay, fair enough, okay. And 1.5 washrooms in your description, what does that mean?
I believe it's actually 1.
1, yeah, plus a shower or one of those deals, okay? And any recent updates since the last inspection? that you're aware of?
Not that we're aware of.
Okay. And it's currently rented, or it's for sale?
I think it's still vacant.
Okay, is it for sale?
I believe it is still for sale.
Is it 265?
I'm not sure if it's listed now. No, they haven't had any bites,
Yeah.
so, it was on the market several times, and again, no takers.
Okay. And so it was a rental, but it's currently up for sale, and you asked the assessor if he knew the condo fees and that kind of thing. Are the fees high?
They are.
Because is there valet in here?
There
Valet
is.
parking and full 24-hour front door security? Yeah.
But I don't think that that's the reason for the high
Okay.
condo fees. I think they've just run into the issue of having to make a lot of capital repairs, and
My last question, what's been done recently to the building in the way of capital? HVAC and everything like that?
no, I think these were structural issues of the building.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. It's underground parking, obviously?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay. So the reserve is rebuilding itself, would that be fair?
Yeah.
Okay. And no special assessments
No,
pending or
I don't
anything?
think so. I think they've always been eyeing this building, but,
Yeah. Okay. And you're asking for $10,000 reduction? Yeah. Okay. Any requirement for summary?
No, thank you.
You're good, Marcelo?
Yeah.
Okay. So that concludes Unit 1004, 160 Tuxedo Avenue. Okay, now we are going to the 1 and 2, 3 vacant agricultural, right? So we're gonna start, am I right, with unit, or pardon me, item number 5, roll number ending in 20,000,
Yes.
okay? And file number 19-2057, okay. Doug, when you're ready, please.
Okay. Roll number 03-06-232-0000. This property has been, this roll number has been canceled. The second page, the photo, that was the shape of the property when it was appealed, when they did appeal the value. After the appeal occurred, there was a merge. You see the second, third page, that's the new lot. They merged the subject property in with the Lee Boulevard property. And the new roll number supplied. The fourth page, it's the supplementary assessment notice. That's the new roll number. You'll see to the approximately third to the left merge. The legal description of the property under appeal, you'll see was lot 27, 28, 29. That same roll, legal description is on, under the new roll number. 27, 28, plan 19, 18, which was merged with 56, 57. And as I mentioned, the roll number that was appealed is inactive at this point.
Okay.
So, I request that the property either be maintained at $249,000 or discarded, because notices have already been sent out for the new properties. The current, or the number that was appealed is inactivated.
Okay. Marcelo?
Yeah, the appeal moved, so you can either confirm it,
Okay. Any questions from the panel? Linda, you good?
Is there a number that we're confirming that is the decision is for confirming?
Uh,
Or there's no number, 023? 49. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so that completes file 19-2057. Okay, next one is file number 19-2082, vacant agricultural land 2020 appeal. The address is 2046 Ward Avenue. Okay, no, sorry, yes.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, so do we have the same circumstance, Mr.
Yes.
Strachan? Okay, would you mind reading?
Yep. Roll number 060931555400. That roll number has been inactivated as well. Second photo, or second page. The red outline is what is the roll number that was appealed. It has been merged with, it was a very narrow strip on the south side of the property. Now, in blue perimeter, it's, that's the new roll number. And again, that roll number has been inactivated. The next page is the supplementary assessor advice notice. From 1.395 million down to 0. In yellow, I highlighted canceled property identifier, which means the roll number has been activated, down to 0. The new roll number is, the property is merged with the new roll number. It has been, a value has been placed on that property, but this appeal applies to the inactive roll number. So I request it be discarded or confirmed. But the number doesn't exist and there's no value to it.
Okay. And Marcelo, any questions?
No questions.
Okay.
Comments? Did you see comments?
Yeah,
Actually, we're aware of this one, we've already billed it, so.
Okay.
Supplementary, so this feels dead.
okay, thank you. Doug, so when you say confirm it, do you mean at 0?
Yes.
Okay, confirm at 0. And that would be relevant for the first file we just did?
Sorry?
That would be relevant for the
Yes,
first file
yes,
we
it would
just
be.
did? Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Any questions from the panel?
None.
That concludes 2046 Ward Avenue. And last one from Mr. Marcello is filed 19-2086, vacant agricultural land, 2020 realty appeal. Mr. Strachan, when you're ready, please.
Rule number 060934644145. Sage Creek, property vacant agricultural. Just under 1.7 million square feet, 38 acres. The 2020 assessment, 2.203 million. I supplied 4 comparisons. The second page is the location of the comparable properties. The comparables very close by. Range of square footage or acreage, approximately 7 up to 243 acres. The subject property has been rezoned as R1M. The sales comparisons are RR5. At the time of sale, they were RR5. Some of them have changed. Influences for all the properties, no sewer water, et cetera. There's a few of the land influences in place. The sales, 2013-14, 11 million, 25 million, 711,541,000.
You know, excuse me, Doug, we don't have any comps in the brief. Do you have the comps?
Attached to the end of the other one.
Ah, okay.
They were a little confusing.
Ah, yeah, okay. So it's attached to
The previous one.
previous brief.
Attached to the previous.
Ah, there we go.
Oh, okay, can you send that back to the assessor then?
Okay. Marcelo, you okay with that?
Well, he can use my sales, they support the value, so he can present that if he likes, my sales. You have them all now?
Yeah.
Okay, so the sales all in the same neighborhood. Works out to $1.84 up to $2.45 a square foot. The sales supplied, they were either purchased by Qualico, Sage Creek Development with Qualico, and GenStar. It's been brought up before where it's only developers buying these properties for future endeavors, but it's the developers that are setting the market. They're willing to pay that amount. They're setting their own, what they're willing to pay. So the assessment of 2.2 million is based on sales, even if it's their own purchases. They're doing it, they're paying the money for it, so that's what the assessment's based on. The comparable, or sorry, the first photo map that shows where the other sales comparisons are located, you see very close. The next page, aerial photo with a bunch of blue dots. Like I mentioned, we have it assessed as agricultural. It's being assessed as a class code 30 farming property. It is now, as I mentioned, rezoned R1M. This class code will be changed to 10. So we'll be making an adjustment there. At this point, under the roll number that was appealed, there's a minimum of 20 permits taken out, new dwellings are started, so they're already begun the whole process. We haven't done the division yet, the replot, it hasn't occurred.
Okay.
All the blue dots are what the plans are where all the dwelling units are going to exist. And last page, just what is going to occur in the neighborhood. The roads are already laid out, so it's sales support the assessment, so I request that we maintain. Thank you.
Thank you. Marcelo, any questions?
There is a supplementary pending.
Not at this point, we haven't done the division properly yet.
We've received instruction to confirm this.
Okay. And the value is $2,203,000. I think that's it for you, Marcelo. Thank you.
My apologies for taking so long, that's fast.
Not at all.
Very efficient. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Doug. Thanks, Marcelo.
Yeah, see you.
Bye-bye.
I'd like to swear in.
That's right.
Please state your full name.
Brittany Santucci.
And do you swear the evidence you represent is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so
Yeah.
help you God?
We're on the last one now.
Yeah, last one. Yeah.
Okay.
Please state your full name. And do you swear the evidence you represent is
I'm
the truth, the whole
confused.
truth, and
Yeah.
nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Smith. Good morning. Ms. Santucci. So we're 1108 St. James Street, and we're dealing with a 2020 realty assessment, and we're dealing with an office building, okay. Okay. When you are ready, Brittany, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is file number 19-4587, roll number 07569-003-700. Address is 1108 St. James Street. This is an office building, so if you turn to my page 2, we have the application for revision. The assessed value was $3,148,000. This was appealed in June 24th, 2019. They appealed on page 3, the original 2020 property assessment mailed out June 3rd. On page 5 is the supplemental assessment notice that was mailed out September 17th, 2019. Revised value of 3 million, if we turn to page 6, it shows the revised value for the assessment, $3,880,000. They have this day, September 17th, 2019, we've corrected the assessment, and you had, the owner had 20 days after, which would have put them about October 7th, 2019, depending when they received the assessment. The hearing notice for this hearing went out September 11th, 2019, and my recommendation today would be to confirm the value at the original mailed out value of the $3,148,000, because unfortunately, the appeal is moot. The supplemental is sent out, it supersedes this appeal.
Okay,
Thank you, that's my presentation.
3 million, sorry, that's page.
Yeah, so I had originally put on the front page the current assessed value, but the value mailed out and that's under appeal is page 2, so it's $3,148,000.
48,000, okay. Mr. Smith?
Yes, I do have questions. So the original 2020 assessment was appealed by the owner, correct?
Yes.
And so the city was aware that there was an appeal that had been filed for 2020.
I'm unsure if the person who did the new construction knew about the appeal, but they had met with the owner for the new construction.
So what is the what is the city's protocol procedure for notifying owners when there's currently an appeal underway for a set year, and the city is looking at doing a supplemental for that year? What protocol does the city follow to make them aware that one is being issued and that they should be essentially waiting for it and appealing that?
My coworker had met with the owner and told him that the supplemental would be coming, and when you receive the supplemental, it states on there, just like the original, you have so many days to appeal it, and that is the legislation.
Right, so looking at your brief here, I guess it's page 3, this is the original assessment that was sent out. It was sent out in error, correct, to this 39 Oakhurst Crescent property, which is not owned by the property owner?
Yes, the owner, that is his old address, he came to us in June of that year to change his address to the current address, which he's receiving his mail at. So he let us know that the address had changed.
It's okay, take your time.
So I'm assuming if we, I'm directing this to the panel, if we move forward, then we'll get into more detail on the property, if it's agreed that we're actually looking at the appeal for 2020, and I can then ask questions on the remainder of the material.
Well, it was my request either. I know he doesn't want to withdraw it, but
Well, we're not
if
withdrawing.
if you're not withdrawing it, then it would be just to confirm what was mailed out, because this is, the appeal is no longer valid. That's not the assessment in our system. They were mailed out a new assessment and they didn't appeal it, so.
I guess with regard to that, I have no further questions, but obviously I have material that I want to present on that matter. So my questions on that portion are done.
Okay. Thanks, Mr. Smith. Okay, Richard, do you have any questions or clarification required? Linda?
Just to be really clear, the 3.8 million was appealed,
No, the 3.8 million is the supplemental value and it was not appealed.
okay? And it was the 3.1 that was
It was
appealed?
appealed, and that was the old assessment based on the no change, like we had come in and there had been renovations.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so Brittany, you're saying that this appeal isn't valid for the old value? No, it's valid for the original value before supplementary?
No, I had, since it's, the original assessment notice, it would be considered moot because we had changed the value, revised it, sent out the new value, and it was not appealed. That would be based on, I know we found a municipal board decision that, if you would hear the original value, it'd be unnecessary, and it doesn't reflect the current value today.
Okay. Yeah, so we're gonna take a recess, please. We'll ask you both to leave the room.
Okay.
Oh, Trevor, do you have anything else to say? I'm sorry.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, yeah,
I've got a
sorry.
considerable amount to say.
Okay.
So, those were simply my questions.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
All right, so just with regard to the filing, et cetera, the original notice that was appealed was sent to a property that the owner of 1108 St. James Street has not owned for a number of years. I have done work for this owner in the past, so I obviously been in touch with them and with regard to the upcoming deadline, so we obtained the value that was placed on the property at that time and looked at it and appealed it, but we never received the notice because it went to this inaccurate address in the first place. But we were able to file an appeal in the first place because obviously we're aware of what those deadlines are. With regard to the supplemental notice having been sent out, yes, it was sent out, yes, it was, I suppose it was probably received at that address. I don't know if the owner was not around at that time to receive it. The legislation in Manitoba, as already pointed out, is 21 days, you have 21 days following the receipt of a notice or notification from the city in which to appeal. This is exceptionally tight. I believe it's the shortest window in all jurisdictions in Canada in which to respond to these notifications. However, that is the legislation as it stands. The point here, there's probably a few of them, I guess, but the point here is if an owner appeals the original assessed value for a property and then subsequently a supplemental assessment is sent out, which increases that assessed value, is it not logical to all parties that they would naturally appeal that supplemental assessment, and that the original appeal should carry forward to that supplemental, rather than going through the exercise of an owner having to then appeal a secondary assessment? We're not talking about a situation where a roll number has changed because part of the property was sold or was subdivided or anything of that nature. It's the same property that has had material changes to it and had a supplemental issued. If we look at this from simply a logical point of view, if we appealed a lower value, very clearly the higher value would be appealed if they had had the opportunity to do so. Now, yes, it was mailed out, and let's assume that it was probably received. Business owners are running businesses. They don't sit in their office and wait for notices to arrive from the city. Within a week of having been, the date having been printed on the notice and sent out, they have businesses to run. This is not top of mind. In fact, it's probably towards the bottom end of their list of things to pay attention to. So the fact that the actual notice was not responded to is, in my mind, a bit of a red herring. It's a situation where here's the letter of the law, we will absolutely follow it to the end of the earth. Doesn't ring true to the public, certainly when one looks at whether that's just or not. If one appealed the original assessment, logically one would appeal the other one if one were aware of it or had the opportunity to do so, or if it didn't slip through the cracks or something of that nature. So beyond that, I have had this situation occur previously, and in that situation, the Board of Revision did decide to hear the appeal for the supplemental for that property. So there is precedent that this has been brought forward before, and the board itself agreed with the appellant that they should hear the supplemental, and it did proceed on that basis. And I think the city subsequently appealed it because this is the line, you don't cross that, so they probably appealed it to the municipal board, I believe, if I recall, and it would be sitting at that level to be taken forward. Beyond that, I have another client where we had a municipal board appeal in process for an earlier year, and the city issued a supplemental assessment to that property regarding a material change, I guess, where a permit was taken out, and they decreased the assessment ever so slightly. And that was, and the owner did not notice the supplemental, didn't file the required appeal within 21 days, probably never even saw it. And that tiny little change has invalidated a municipal board agreement that we struck several years down the road as we waited for this to proceed through the process. So this issue of issuing supplementals and having to respond to them within an exceptionally tight time frame is extremely problematic to taxpayers, and there should be a better process in place at the city whereby if there is an appeal, actively filed appeal for a year, that there should be more direct contact with an owner whereby they are very clearly notified that we are changing your valuation, you have an appeal on this year, and be aware of this, and this is your timeframe in which to respond. It's really not done, it is sent out. If you respond, you respond. And with regard to, that's my presentation with regard to the issue of the supplemental and the original. There's obviously much more than that. Beyond that, there's a discrepancy in area that the city could resolve this simply by making a correction under 14.2 to the two supplemental appeals, and we would all be fine, but that hasn't occurred.
We disagree on that.
Okay.
I have questions.
Yes, go ahead.
Would you agree that the letter sent out on page 6 shows the owner that it was revised?
Does.
And he has so many days to appeal it. So we did do our due diligence. And did you speak to the owner in regards to the conversation he had with our coworker about the supplemental notice coming? He was informed by our coworker.
I have met with the owner, and he did indicate that there was an assessor that came to tour the space, yes.
And explained that we would be revising the value due to permits and renovations.
That I'm not aware of.
Okay. And are you aware that the owner appealed his supplemental BA, which was heard in November?
I am aware of that, but that's not under, that's not the file that we're dealing with here currently.
So, that's my questions.
I mean, if you issue an assessment in other jurisdictions, you have, in some cases, up to 90 days in which to file your appeal. We're talking 21.
Yeah.
You can blink and miss it.
In all fairness, that's the rules here.
Yes.
so.
Oh, I know it's the rules. I'm pointing out whether that's fair justice or not.
Okay. Richard, any questions from?
I do.
Thank you.
So just to clear up for me then, what you're contending is that the city sent this information to the wrong address. The owner is not present at this address.
No, that was the original assessment, which we
Yes.
did appeal, because we're aware of the time frame, and I had contacted the owner in advance of that. The supplemental did go to his current business address where things are meant to be sent to.
Okay, so that's what I missed, is that he got the other pieces, the supplementals.
It went to the correct address,
Yep.
he never saw it, so I do not know what occurred at that end.
Okay, and whose responsibility is it to file and make sure that the city has the appropriate information they require, never mind deadlines? Whose responsibility is that?
With regard to the notification address?
No, well,
Or like
anything,
where the
notification
tax bills, et
address,
cetera?
appeals, et cetera. Whose responsibility is that?
That would be the taxpayer, but I believe that it had been, like, I believe that had been done in the past, because he hasn't owned this Oakhurst property for many years.
So it's a regular, reoccurring event. He's responsible, I'm assuming it's a he. He's responsible, missed it for some reason.
The notification aspect,
Well, he missed getting back to the city, from what I understand.
with regard to changing that, I can't say that for sure. I think he probably did notify them at some point.
So the
But
city
I-
may be in error?
It's difficult to say.
Okay, so it's like this for you. Okay, thank you, no further questions.
Sorry, just to follow up on my colleague's question. He missed making the appeal, though. He went to the right address for whatever reason. Your contention is he didn't see it, and he did not make the appeal.
That's
Right?
correct, yes.
That's correct,
Based on the supplementary.
based
On
on
the
something.
supplementary, yes.
Okay, correct.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Anything else, Linda?
No, I'm
Okay. Brittany, you made reference to a municipal board order regarding this situation we've got here. Would you mind telling us about that?
I was provided this by a coworker, one who was here earlier today, just in regard to it. It was from 2016, November 14th. I didn't know if I could submit it. I didn't know if it would consider new evidence, so I was just gonna speak to it.
Yeah.
And it was just, the conclusion was, in the municipal board's opinion, the appeal from the original assessment notice is now moot. It is therefore unnecessary and unadvisable for the board to proceed with a hearing on the appeal. So the property did not appeal, they only appealed the original notice, didn't appeal the supplemental, so the municipal board didn't hear it. And therefore, the board orders this appeal is moot, and the appeal is accordingly dismissed.
Well, I think, would you have any objections, Mr. Smith, that we see a copy of that, maybe, and you could see it too? And
I would actually, because I didn't
Would.
go to, or didn't have the opportunity to go to the lengths of digging out the border revision order where the same situation happened and the board ultimately decided that they would hear the appeal on the supplemental. So yes, I do object.
Okay. Okay, any other questions from anybody? Okay. So, Trevor, I have one question. You noted that some panels at the Board of Revision have gone ahead with the appeal,
It has happened, yes.
and have some of them not gone ahead with the appeal?
I'd only had the situation
That you're aware.
occur at one time for myself, so I
Okay,
couldn't comment on others.
yeah.
In fact, to that end, there may be municipal board appeals that went in the other direction as well, which I'm not,
Yeah,
didn't research and present to you today, so
okay.
we can look at one side, but there could equally be the other.
Okay. Okay, we are gonna recess right now, consider both arguments. If you wouldn't mind leaving the room. Thank you, Heather, thank you. Okay, so the panel has considered both parties' presentation, and it is the opinion of the panel that the value before us is no longer valid, therefore we cannot proceed with this appeal. And as a secondary note, Mr. Smith, on file with this appeal is a note from the board acknowledging receipt of your application received on November 8th, and that the board notified you as the agent as being unable to accept this application for revision as they were received beyond the legislative deadline date as regulated by the Municipal Assessment Act.
So I can inform you as to detail with regard to that, and I understand the decision, that's all
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
That's what I expected. The issue with regard to the supplementals wasn't known until the day, essentially the day of the original hearing for this. The owner did not have them in his possession, didn't know about them. I went back, dug them up, we applied after the deadline had passed. Obviously, we knew we had applied after the deadline had passed at that point, and obviously they couldn't accept them, but it's a process we had to follow. So, that's the background on that.
Okay, but, our decision is not to proceed.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay. Is there, that essentially, that essentially means there's no avenue of appeal beyond this, correct? For 2020? Okay, so 2021, we will be back.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, perhaps we can resolve it all with regard to the areas.
Okay, so that concludes 1108 St. James Street. That concludes our hearing today. Thank you both for appearing.
Thank you.